I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, so help me God. Every 4 years, citizens of the United States witness the president-elect becoming leader of the free world. Depending on your party, the day could be marked as celebration or mourning. Either way, a division is created. We see each other in shades of blue or tints of red. Stinging insults are thrown like old campaign slogans. The division widens and nothing changes. Except for that teenager who now shrinks in her classes at school as her classmates take it upon themselves to degrade her morals. Except for that man who voted for the first time in his life only to hear his coworkers talk about how evil those supporters are. Except for that child who grows up knowing nothing but hate and how to demean someone until everyone feels better about themselves and forgets the real problem. By applying the Rotary 4-way test, this will enable us to reevaluate our attitudes and create a better future for the upcoming generations. First, is it the truth? Well, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, truth is defined as being or reflecting the essential or genuine character of something. Of course, in our own eyes, it is always the truth. We think that anyone who doesn't agree with us is wrong. Somehow we've accepted the idea that those who are different are inherently bad, and we are presenting this as fact. Then what does this say about our truth? This is the genuine character we then become. Don't we claim to be a tolerant society? America fights for those who can't speak, who can't even stand up for themselves. And somehow, some way, we still have kids who are scared to speak out for fear of a verbal lynching by their friends. We are teaching kids that it's okay to tear people down so that we can feel more self-assured that we are right in our thinking. And that truth is what we choose to define it as. That is not and never was truth. By dividing ourselves and being so blatantly partisan, we are becoming the very things we claim to fight against. Then we must ask ourselves, is this fair to all concerned? People measure life and whether they're getting what they think they should or if they feel cheated in some way. Fair then becomes a relative term. But we have reduced ourselves to believing that once we find a pattern in anything, we can group everyone into that category. For example, what do you think of when you hear the word Democrat? Republican? If I were to ask what made a liberal and what made a conservative, what would you say? You can probably picture a typical member of each. We feel more in control when we can identify something and say, this is your place in life. This is where you fit in. Like being a child limits your ability to say things that actually matter to adults. Or like being a parent inhibits your ability to relate to the heartache of your children. Or how even being a woman stops me from standing up here today and talking about politics with people from all different backgrounds. Everyone is different, and here in America, we celebrate our diversity. We need to reevaluate what we think fair means. Alexander Hamilton said, men often oppose a thing merely because they have had no agency in planning it, or because it may have been planned by those whom they dislike. Because of differing ideas, we are demonizing those who don't agree. That's not fair. And in a world seeking the truth, we must be fair to everyone involved. Does doing this promote goodwill and better friendships? How can it? We are ridiculing, calling out anyone who dares to speak out for what they believe in. Friendships are being broken, not created, because we fail to see past one's party affiliation. And in a world that is becoming increasingly partisan, we can't afford that, or no one will be able to get along. The Pew Research Center determined that across 48 different questions covering values about government, foreign policy, and social and economic issues, the average difference between the opinions of Republicans and Democrats now stands at 18 percentage points, which is nearly twice the size of the gap in surveys conducted from 1987 to 2002. If this continues, then we are limiting the amount of goodwill we can possibly give. Friendships are built on recognizing that people can make their own choices and loving them beyond that. The last of the questions of the 4-way test asks if this is beneficial. Is partisanship beneficial? If you need any further confirmation, just tune into the outcome of our presidential election. More hatred than ever is spewing out of people who are only looking to fight. Riots have broken out, derogatory names have been shouted, and most significantly, Americans have been killed. Our country is tearing apart, and we need people to step up who believe enough in their causes to compromise on the final outcome. much like a group of 55 men in a convention in Philadelphia who peacefully overthrew their new American government only on the strength of their convictions to form a new constitution. They would rather get a little than nothing at all. As a country, we are not making as much progress as we could be, all due to our branding of people. Then we are only realizing that despite saying we welcome all, there really are limits to friendliness, and there are even limits to hospitality. We have become a nation of division. We think we are getting closer towards equality and unity, but we are getting further away from it every day. By applying the Rotary four-way test, one can see that this hatred and partisanship towards one another does not pass. There's no truth and fairness in continuing a lie or ruining any chance there is of becoming bipartisan. There's no goodwill in excluding or berating others, and it certainly wins you no friends to do so. And how can this possibly be beneficial when all it does is tear people apart? It's time to take a stand. America is an incredible country, full of a proud history that inspires people to reach for any dream they can dream, and compels men and women to suit up and fight the good fight. The sooner we begin to see that we are all on the same team, the sooner we begin to realize that there isn't much separating us at all, save for a few opinions. And isn't that worth fighting for?